Welcome back, guys. Toxic here with your druid Resto guide, part 2. Woo, part 2. Yeah, I know I said I was gonna do this one either right after the one I just published yesterday, I believe it was, or was it last night? I don't remember. So anyway, this is part 2. Part 2 is gonna mostly consist of just raid content, me explaining what I'm doing. Obviously, you guys can see what I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to be going a little bit more over what these spells do in what certain situations, how to properly apply them, I guess. In the other video, I did go over your spells, I did go over your stat priority, I did go over talents and glyphs, gear, food, pot, all that good stuff. You know, the fun stuff that everyone just wants to know. So this time, you guys just get to watch the action of how this is played, or exactly how I play it anyway. So I just put together a bunch of different clips so you guys can see the different situations. I mostly play the same throughout the whole encounter, but as you can see, what you want to do here as a Resto druid, and what most Resto druids are going to do, is just apply as many rejuvenations as you can on your raid. Now, going to Life Bloom, you want to keep Life Bloom on, I would say, the tank that needs it the most, the one that takes the heavier damage. Obviously in this one, it's going to be our warrior tank a little bit more than our DK tank, because let's face it, guys, DKs are just stupid overpowered. But it's okay, we welcome them anyway. Now, perfect example here on Genesis. Now you see how right there it would have called for a tranquility, a revival, or some sort of cooldown. But instead, what we did was just apply rejuvenation on as much of our raid as possible, and then just dropped that Genesis right there. But did you see how it instantly wiped away? That is a prime example on how Genesis should be used. Now, no, it will use more mana than you probably want it to, because I want to say it spells about 9k or so. So every time you use it, it is an instant cast, so every time you use it, you will be depleting some sort of mana. Look at me stand in this fire. As a Resto druid, you're very mobile, so you can run around and just drop hots on people and win. Your Life Bloom, you do want to keep it mostly on your tank, but for the most part, you can put it on anyone that needs it, because Life Bloom just can do a lot of healing. I'm noticing that most of my overheals are due to Life Bloom, so bear that in mind. As you can see, I'm still using the Druid Focus add-on for this, though I don't think it comes with a preset one for Resto, other than the little left side there icon. It tells you when your basically cooldowns are ready to go, without you really having to go into your spell book or look at your bars or anything like that. As you can see, I am using Nature's Vigil. I'm not popping it every single chance I get, because there's some times where damage isn't going out. So pop it when you see or when you can anticipate there being more damage, like AoE damage, basically. Your mushrooms you could drop pretty much anywhere with the minor glyph, the glyph of sprouting mushroom. So be sure to take that, especially for fights like this where you're having to constantly move and drop your mushroom in the most random of places and hope and praise that it hits somebody. Now, obviously, your other spells in your arsenal, you got Swift Mend and you got Regrowth. Regrowth, you're going to want to use it on your Omen of Clarity proc, which is a 4% chance to happen on every tick of Life Bloom. It's very important that you keep it up at all times. If you can't reach to a tank, like I said, drop it on someone who is low on health. It'll still help out with your, I guess, healing numbers if you really care about that much. I really only care about if people live or die. So make sure you do that and don't let it fall off. There's a couple times here in this encounter that I actually forgot to drop it on somebody because this fight is a little hectic. You know, there's just a lot of fire, a lot of things going on, and it takes a long time for people to adjust to it, I guess. Let's see now. Nature's Swiftness. Nature's Swiftness is with your 2-piece from Blackrock Foundry. It does give you a 3 spell cast of it. I couldn't think of what I was trying to say there. But anyway, yeah, Nature's Swiftness is you can cast it 3 times if you have the BRF 2-piece, which is awesome because it makes for a really awesome quick heal that you can just go in there and, you know, throw on people. Be like, I need you to survive. Healing touchies. Healing touchies, by the way, is just your healing touch. If you guys didn't already get that, it's just a fun little joke that we have between our other druids. So fun stuff, guys. Fun stuff. For the most part, you know, I'm just gonna be blabbing to you guys about, you know, stuff here and there. You know, most of this is you can obviously make out yourself. I mean, here I'm gonna throw another Genesis. You see here, boom, Genesis, and it just, you can see there your numbers will jump up significantly. As you can see, just from that one Genesis alone, I jumped up super high there, you know, for the time being. So that's always fun. Another heal, obviously, one of your talents is Jasara's Gift. Jasara's Gift is just going to, you know, passively heal people throughout the encounter, so it's something you don't really have to manage, so that's fun. That's always fun. You guys don't forget about your bark skin. Your bark skin is your active damage mitigation, basically, with the 1-minute cooldown. So anytime you're taking too much damage, or you're anticipating, you know, hopefully you have DBM running and you can better manage when you're going to take damage. So if you know the abilities, make sure you pop that at the prime time so you can, you know, reduce as much damage as you possibly can. It also helps if you're going to take any kind of physical attack. It also helps to jump into bear form while using bark skin, like I do during that artillery strike earlier, because it really does help mitigate your damage, and it just adds more survivability to your raid. Going back to Omen of Clarity, you don't want to save it. You want to, but obviously you don't want to just cast it right away. You always want to drop it on someone that's low, or someone that has some sort of debuff on them that can help them, you know, survive a little bit better. If I can say that. Tranquility, we spoke about that in part 1 of this guide. Tranquility is your big healing cooldown. Basically, if you have good communication with your other healers in your guild, or in your raid team, I should say, you guys can set up a formation on how, you know, who's going to use it when. And going back to the add-on Hermes that I didn't get to actually show you guys in part 1, it's this little bar right there, right above my Skada add-on right there. You see right there on the top, almost in the middle of the screen. It's called Hermes. Like I said, it's spelled H-E-R-M-E-S. It's a fantastic healer add-on, or an add-on for your raid leader, or for anyone really, your tanks, because it does manage what cooldowns your raid has. So it's, you could better, I guess, survive. It adds more survivability just because you know what's on cooldown and when you can use it and when it's off cooldown. That way you guys can have the most survivability. So, prime example, in this raid we have 3 druids. So we have 3 tranquilities, and we pretty much all know, you know, in what order we're going to cast it. The only time it's going to change is if, you know, one of us says, okay, well, I'm going to use it first on this one because yada 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 reason, and it should be that way. But for the most part, you know, you and your fellow healers, and you know, should just be able to maintain those pretty well. Unfortunately for me, during this raid, this raid encounter, there was 3 other druids who are very skilled as well. I believe they are more haste heavy than I am. So this is a prime example on how the stat priority on Icy Veins or Noxic or the Forums isn't entirely true the entire time, because I am a very mastery heavy Resto druid. So as you can, so just like prime example, that either all haste or all mastery is, either one is very viable. pertaining to what your play style is, and just personal preference on what you guys feel does more. I mean, obviously with higher mastery, you're going to do higher healing, which is just awesome. More haste. There is no such thing as haste breakpoints anymore. So theoretically, you don't need to hit a soft cap or a hard cap on how much haste you actually need, like you did back in Siege of Orgrimmar. Though that may be true, haste does provide help with any point. Any point of haste is going to help with your cast times and your hots, but not necessarily all your hots. My fellow Resto druid here, Lifefire, actually gave me some good advice because I don't, like I said, I'm not a haste heavy druid, so I'm not too educated in the whole haste build. Like I said, if you guys are looking for a mastery build and my playstyle, this is how I play it. But yeah, haste does contribute to how many ticks your life bloom will do. So if you guys take Glyph of Blooming, obviously you're gonna have a 5-second reduced duration on it, but that's okay because Glyph of Blooming also increases the healing done by the bloom effect by 50%. So that's a lot of healing. I mean, with something like that, especially with that glyph and your Hellfire 2-piece, hopefully you guys already have that. If not, I highly recommend you guys get that 2-piece, because the 2-piece, what it does is has 30% chance to make your life bloom, which increases healing by 50%. So it might contribute to a lot of your overhealing, but at the same time it might not. So it just depends on you guys. So here, prime example, want to use Tranquilities. You can see we have 2 demons up, and we're taking just a lot of damage, and it looks like we were going to wipe here, but luckily our other druid popped into his Tree of Life. See, they take Tree of Life. I'm a Soul of a Forest player, so he popped Tree of Life and dropped the Tranquility just to give his Tranquility the extra 15% increase in healing, which is very powerful combination if you want a very powerful Tranquility. Now, the strength of your Tranquility does stack with your mastery, obviously, because mastery contributes to your overall increased healing. So with high mastery and a incarnation build will produce more healing overall, to be honest, if you pop them simultaneously. When I used to play with incarnation, I would pop them at separate times just because I wouldn't know when I would have what cooldown. And yeah, that might be a really odd playstyle, but it worked better for me just because I had 2 big cooldowns. So, like I said, guys, I take Soul of the Forest. Soul of the Forest, you're going to want to use Wild Growth as much as you possibly can, but don't overuse it because it will consume a lot of your mana. So be very wary of how often you're really using it, and pay attention to your mana, because with the way I play my druid, I spend a lot of mana. I mean, there are situations where I don't spend as much as I think I'm spending, but just be wary that with a Soul of the Forest build, your most powerful heal will become your Wild Growth. And so if they would take a major damage, would call for another Tranquility. But as you can see, Hermes is tracking us right now on when the cooldown of our next Tranquility will be, and unfortunately it won't be mine. It probably will be our other druid, Life-Fire's, but it doesn't look like we're going to need it. But you see right there, Incarnation, Tree of Life again, just really helps. I take Soul of Forest just because I'm more used to it, and it's just passive. I don't have to track another cooldown. But if you guys are good at tracking cooldowns and you guys want that extra boost on healing and extra help with your mana management, go with Incarnation, because Incarnation is a fantastic talent. I'm just more used to Soul of the Forest and its passive healing boost. So both are very good. So obviously the more spirit you have, the easier it will be to use your Soul of the Forest more often than not. So let's see, Swiftbend, obviously I just talked about Swiftbend. You want to use it in unison with your Wild Growth. Regrowth, use it on Omen of Clarity. Mushrooms, place them accordingly. As a Resto druid, that's gonna be most of the time I think your top 3 heals. Rejuvenation probably number 1, Wild Growth number 2, Tranquility if you use it correctly, you know, it can jump up there. I already talked about enchants. Just went over that. And as you can see, you guys are running out of things to talk about because I basically talked about everything already. So yeah. Let's see what else. Let's just throw some random shit in there. Okay. Just avoid stuff, guys. You have very mobility. There should be no reason why you guys should be getting hit by stuff. I mean, sometimes I get hit too, but that's just because I'm a dunce at times. But you're very mobile. You got your kitty form. You got your displacer beast. You got your improved running. You know, you got all the good stuff. Resto druids are very, 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 very versatile. They're very fun class. Very awesome to play. If you are playing a Tauren druid, you're gonna have a hard time fighting transmogs. But if you guys are curious on what transmog I use, like I stated in my first video, feel free to go ahead and ask. I know how hard it is to want to get that really cool looking set. Fortunately for me, it took a while, and I actually found my favorite one. But I know that's going off the topic of what actually healing is, so let's just talk about something else. You see right here, prime example. Watch, I was spoken earlier. Again, I'm going to use bark skin, move away as much as I can. Right before it goes off, bark skin, bear form, and look how much. Look at, I hardly take any damage. So you guys have the Resto druids have a lot of damage mitigation they can do. So that's pretty much it. You know, I guess I had more to talk about in the earlier times, but you know, you guys seeing what it looks like in person or on your very own eyes or in a raid is a little easier to follow. So that's gonna be it for me today. If you guys liked the video, please like, share, subscribe. Tell me I did a good job, tell me a bad job, whatever you guys want to do. I like to thank my buddy Jordan Bach for throwing these remixes for me into my videos, give a little bit more oomph. If you guys want to check out his SoundCloud, I'll leave it in the description below. If you guys want to maybe check out our guild website, it's going to be at the end of this video. Website will be at the bottom. I'll also leave a link to it in the description below. So we're always looking for great players, active players, so feel free to check it out. And that's going to be it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, hope it was helpful, and I'll see you guys all next time.